Welcome to the You Bet Smart podcast. This is episode 26, and on this podcast, we're going to talk about UFC 290. But before we get to that, we got to go over the Twitter poll. We're going to do a segment that we've done a couple times in the past, I think. This will be the third time, the poll position. And we did a poll on Twitter where I think we had over 100 people vote for it. And the poll was, who would win in a fight, Superman or Batman? I'll go first. I think this is hands down Superman. I think Superman 100%. But we have a guest on all our UFC podcasts. We have a guest. Parrish is with us. What do you think, Parrish?
I'm going with Batman.
Is that what you guys did that?
Yeah, we knew he was a huge Batman fan. That's
why Batman? How do you think he's gonna win this?
He's too smart. He's too smart, man. He's not gonna let that big ape take advantage of him like that. He's too smart. You'll trick him with something.
We'll reveal what the poll came up with in a couple seconds, but let's go around the horn. What do you think, Jake?
I think it's hard to beat Superman, honestly.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem realistic, but
Chris?
Yeah, I think you'd have to go with Superman.
Three Supermans and one Batman?
I like Batman better, but
I feel like looking at Parrish's face, he's going to turn into Batman in a second. He's going to I'll be right back, and comes back.
I don't have the money.
And kicks all of our asses. But here's what the poll came up with. It came out with 82% Superman, 18% Batman. So sorry, Parrish. We didn't mean to piss you off right off the bat of the shit. Piss off our guests when they get here. But I thought that this was a pretty funny quote that Eric from the Vegas Benchwarmers, he's been on the show before, right?
yes.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Eric said Superman is a superhero with superpowers, and Batman is basically Mark Zuckerberg cosplaying with cool weapons. I thought that was a pretty good line. It sounds like he might have edited that a couple times. That was well written.
Yeah.
But speaking of Mark Zuckerberg, we wanted to talk about, before we get into the UFC, we wanted to talk about what everybody's talking about online is the Mark Zuckerberg versus Elon Musk. If that fight will ever happen. I think someone might have said something, but I doubt it'll ever happen. But if it does, who do you guys think will win that one? Well, let's go with Jake first.
I think I have to go with Musk here. He's a 6'1". What do we got? Zuckerberg is only 5'8". So Musk has got the reach. He's got the determination. He just trained recently for the first time, and the guy said he was stronger than he expected. So I'm going with Musk here.
How old are they? Do you have their ages there?
I think Musk is like 50 something and Zuckerberg's like late 30s.
That's what it seems. Yeah. So you'd have the age on him.
Yeah.
But he's definitely smaller.
And
What do you think, Chris?
I would pick Zuckerberg because of the age, and he actually trains.
Mhm.
So it'd be the ugliest fight ever.
Oh, yeah.
So they neither one might win because it just could end in a draw because no one could land a punch or take either one of them down. So
It reminds me of those old Howard Stern fights that they had where they would put he kind of invented celebrity boxing, and then celebrity boxing became a thing. But I think did BJ Armstrong from the Bulls fight in that?
I think he did.
I think
now
he
I did.
used
I
to fight in
remember
that.
that. Yeah.
But what do you think, Parrish? Who will win? Zuckerberg, Musk?
Chris is right. Zuckerberg, I almost forgot his name for a second. He does train, but I think Musk is going to use the Neuralink on him.
Oh,
Yep.
he would do some Batman shit on him.
You just
If you think about
He's
it.
just going to download 10 years of judo right into his dome.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's what I would do.
That would be interesting if you could do that with Neuralink. Is download experience
Like the
too?
Matrix.
Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
just like the Matrix. Yeah.
Yep.
I would take Zuckerberg too. Just because he's also a really good fencer. I think he's into fencing, and he has some years of jiu-jitsu. When he was on Rogan, he talked about how he's been doing jiu-jitsu for 5 years.
He's won some tournaments.
Oh,
yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, up in the Simi Valley area, nothing
Yeah.
no national tournaments or anything
Yeah, and
like that.
I think he entered them without saying who he. No, I mean, he just looks like a normal nerd.
Yeah.
Like probably no one knew who he was, but I saw some video of it. It wasn't very impressive.
Okay.
Yeah.
he's trying though.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome that he's doing that.
Is that what you do, Parrish? You do jujitsu?
I did it.
Okay.
I did it for a while. I
You've
did
done
that.
it
I
different-
can't. I did. Well, I started with wrestling and judo, and then later, Brazilian jiu-jitsu got really big, and I'm like, I'll try it out, and it's pretty much just judo without the throwing.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Have you ever done that, Jake? Done jujitsu?
A little bit, but not formally.
Okay. Yeah, I've never done it before. Have you, Chris?
No, nothing.
I'm kind of interested in doing it. I think I might put my son in it
Yeah.
just because he's like got so much energy, just like to give him like a discipline and get his energy out.
put him in wrestling or judo.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Over
'cause-
jujitsu? How come?
Well, because jiu-jitsu is a little bit too defensive, and boys would be better suited with more an aggressive nature. Like wrestling, you assert yourself.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? It's an offensive. It's more offensive. Jiu-jitsu is offensive to an extent, but they don't really teach these kids how to get people to the floor really well. Well, that's not going to help you too much. You know, if you're good at submissions, but you're not good at takedowns, it's kind of useless.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You'd be better suited with wrestling, and then later he can learn jiu-jitsu. Or if you just want to teach him one thing, just teach him judo, because he'll learn how to wrestle and he'll learn how to do the upper body throws and foot sweeps. And then on the ground, they do arm locks and chokes too.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to take your advice. I'll talk to Amanda about
cheaper,
that
too.
later. It's cheap. Oh, okay. Yeah. I can
Generally.
see it because it's not as popular as jujitsu is right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
BJJ is kind of like it's become very McDonald's in a way. You know, it's just a thing right now, but eventually there'll be something else they'll replace it one day. Even karate is really expensive for kids. It's over $200 a month for karate.
Wow.
Jiu-jitsu is the same way. Or you could put your kid in judo. And I think they charge you like every 2 or 3 months, and it's like $300 or $400 for 3 months. So there's a big difference in cost there.
All right. Yeah. I'll take your advice on that one. Well, speaking of judo and wrestling, the first fight up for UFC 90 has one of the best wrestlers ever in it, Bo Nickel. But before we get to that, let's go over our stats from the first two shows. So this is the third episode. We've had 3 UFC episodes, including this one, and 2 before. And so far, Parrish, you're in the lead with both with record and money. You're 6-4, and you're up $610.
All right.
If you bet $100 on each one, using the rules of to win and to place. So Jake, you're in second. You're 5-5, and you're up $200. So combined, you guys are up $810. Nice. It's pretty sweet in just 10 matches. I'm 6-4, but I'm down minus 280. I got to stop taking all those favorites. And Chris, I don't think you were here for the first one.
I was, but that was the first episode I was on, so I wasn't doing I wasn't involved in the show at all. I just
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was wondering why we only had 5 matches for you.
Because I wasn't I didn't make any picks. You guys didn't let me. You said
So
I had
we
to earn it.
So we just we just made you sit there without. That's brutal. Well, welcome to the show, Chris.
Conditioned to audio, Chris.
Well, you did go 1-4 the last time, and
Yeah.
you're minus 285. But combined, the 4 of us were still up, even though we have a losing record combined. You guys, you and Parrish, you and Jake, you guys picked some underdogs last time that came through.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I've picked on both shows for the most part.
Is all underdogs?
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see what you got
Well,
going
I mean,
on.
Even when I picked a favorite, I would pick one that was a dog pick where it was
Right.
It was like a specialty pick or like a prop pick,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
Do you have any props tonight without saying them?
You know what? We looked for the odds, and they don't have the odds for the method of decision.
They're not out yet.
Like whether it's decision or knockout or which round, they don't. As of last night, they didn't have it.
They'll probably come out on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah. They seem to wait a while for those props to come out.
And there's another fight tonight, so they have those lines out, but they don't have the next week. I'll double check though.
Yeah, maybe they'll bring them out after that fight, probably on Sunday, maybe. All right, well, let's get right into it. We already talked about Bo Nickel. He is the first matchup in the main card. He's going up against Trayshawn Gore. This one is another one where he is a heavy favorite in this one. In episode 1, in you bet smart UFC episode 1, you had the line of the night where you said Bo Nichols' match was like buying tickets to a murder.
Oh, well,
It still rings in my head. It was hilarious. Is this the same thing?
yeah, they're feeding this guy tomato cans right now. And they're just trying to legitimize him, in my opinion. What is he right now, Jake? He's 4 now.
4 or 5-0.
4 or 5-0.
4-0.
It's not. They're talking about big things for this kid. They're just trying to make that record look legitimate right now, and it doesn't. They're talking about like, oh, what about we're going to give him a title shot? You can't give him a title shot right now. That's insane. So they're going to feed him a bunch of bums probably for the next. If I were them, I'd feed this guy bums for like 2 years. Just let him kick the shit out of everybody, get him into the top 10, and then that's when you start giving him guys of real caliber and real tests. Lack for a better term. You don't want him going in there and like derailing the train right off the bat, So I think this is smart. This guy that he's fighting right now is pretty limited on the ground. I could see this being over fairly quickly.
If they did that for 2 years, if they waited 2 to 3 years and just fed him just easy guys, would that affect his fighting? Would it make it so he's got used to a certain level? And then if they gave him somebody who's a real contender, it would hurt him.
It could, but the problem is that he's not very good at striking. So if they throw him in there right now and try to like upgrade, like and make him, how do you say it, upgrade his competition, that might be a little bit too quick in regards to the stand-up game. When it goes to wrestling, he's great. He's fine. I would say probably he needs to work on his submission skills to help him finish better, but he's finishing everybody already. The biggest, I would feed him bums and take more time to get the striking on point, just in case you don't want him getting knocked out by some guy that's just tough, that has good takedown defense. And now you're stuck on the feet with this guy. And you have to bang it out. You don't want him to be having to do that. And if his hand sucks, so it'd be better off have him fight a bunch of nobodies. And honestly, I'd tell him like, let's try to get some knockouts with our hands. These guys aren't very good. They're not dangerous. Let's start working on the stand-up game. If you get clipped, put him on the ground, then we'll finish the fight. But he needs to develop something else. He can't just keep running in there and wrestling these guys to the floor. It's not going to work.
Yeah, and it sounds like they're trying to develop a superstar.
Oh,
so that if they want to develop a superstar, they should make sure he has a well-rounded game. Kind of like
Definitely.
The main card, drawing a blank right now. Volkanovski, kind of like a Volkanovski, where he's like so well-rounded, he's good at almost everything.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think Bo Nickel necessarily, I don't know if he has the brain like Volkanovski does. Volkanovski's probably one of the smartest fighters. He understands distance. Even if you're the bigger guy, he gives up height. You still can't get to him. He angles out well. Like, he understands fighting better than probably 99% of the guys in that cage. I don't think Bo Nickel really understands fighting at all. He doesn't strike me as very smart. Jake and I had this discussion a couple nights ago. He doesn't strike me as an atom splitter.
So you were saying maybe like he should try to maybe knock one of these guys out, and if he gets in trouble, then take it to the ground. If he's not smart, then would you even risk him trying that?
They need to start figuring it out, because when he goes in there with Israel Adesanya, and other guys of that caliber, he's going to be forced onto the feet. Eventually, at some point, he's not going to be able to ragdoll these guys like he thinks he's going to do. So if you're going to have to test a striking out, do it against people that aren't very good.
Yeah, and can fighting intelligence be developed too?
Of course, and that's why you develop that against. If you're really bad at striking, it's better to go in there and get somebody that's not very good at striking too. So you probably going to still get your ass kicked a bit, because it's foreign to you, right? You're a wrestler. You're not used to getting hit in the head like that. But that's the best way to learn, because you're not going to have a guy absolutely kick the living shit out of you, and then you get back to the corner. You're like, well, what the fuck happened? It's like, well, you just got fucked up. It's like, man, I guess so. I don't remember half of that shit. He's not going to learn anything from that kind of ass whipping. You need to go in. He needs to have success, and then also have like small amounts of defeat. But he needs to figure out a way to get confidence into striking, where he's never going to do it. and he's not going to get confidence going in there against guys that are better than him right off the bat. He's just going to get murdered.
Is his technique bad? He doesn't have power.
It's terrible. I don't know if he has power or not, but most wrestlers are so tight in their shoulders, they can't be loose to throw power. So they need to teach him how to strike.
Well, in the last fight that he had against who was against Pickett, everybody said he had a low blow. Jake, did you watch the fight? Do you think that was a low blow?
I think consensus is that it was a low blow, and Bo Nickel said that it wasn't, but I don't know. He definitely hit him right where it looked like a low blow, so I think it was.
Does it matter at all that?
Yeah,
yeah,
it hurts a lot.
The ref,
and the fact that he denied it, like denying it, should he have just admitted it and went on to, yeah, it was a low blow.
The best thing to do in that situation is to just say, hey, I'm not the ref. He didn't stop me. I just kept going. He shouldn't have given it any kind of credence any way or the other. I'm not in there to do that. I threw the shot. I wasn't aiming for there. If it hit there, I'm sorry, but I wasn't intentional, and the ref didn't stop me. So what do you want me to do? Yeah. You want me to call my own fouls? Nobody's going to do that for you.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Like, not admit it like right in the fight, but afterwards, at least when you're watching the tape, go, oh yeah, I accidentally got one on him.
Yeah. Well, he probably could. You could go back and say that later, but what purpose is that going to serve?
Doesn't matter.
Just like, you know what? That's not my job. The ref fucked up.
The ref should have called it. Yeah.
Right.
He normally would call that and then give him up to 5 minutes, I believe. And it definitely takes the wind out of you. And that didn't help him. Not that Pickett would have lasted much longer, in my opinion, but it definitely didn't help.
That's probably one of the most debilitating things that can happen to you in a fight is getting kicked in the balls, because it could stick with you for like 2 rounds.
I believe it.
It doesn't go away.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I watched an interview with Trayshawn Gore, and he didn't seem like he knew what he was getting into. I mean, have you seen his attitude about this?
He's so confident.
Like, it seems like, does he know he's going to get fucked up in this thing?
He's probably, you know what? I like that actually. If he's really going in there, because he knows he's like, this guy is going to try to get a hold of me and he's going to get me to the ground. But he's probably thinking in the back of his mind, if I can just land one good shot on this guy, I put him to sleep. Wrestlers are not used to getting hit. So if he's smart, I would use that as the confidence in my mind. It's like, he can't handle my power. I need to line this up on this kid.
Is Trayshawn Gore good at striking?
He's better than Bo Nickel.
Which isn't saying much.
Right. So I wouldn't say that this might not be the fight for Bo Nickel to go in there and like showcase his striking, but they do, back to what I was saying earlier, they are going to have to figure out guys that are like, maybe guys that are wrestlers just like him, and where the wrestling can still negate each other. And then it's like, all right, now let's have it out on the feet. Be a really awful striking match. Nobody's going to want to watch it, but it'll be good for him for his development.
Okay.
So why the UFC is trying to make Bo Nickel a star? That's what you're saying?
Big time.
Well, he's 27. Isn't that a little old to now be trying to make him a star?
No,
or
I mean,
it's just like he's the best guy coming up to become a star. So that's why they're backing him.
He was in college and all that.
Yeah.
And if you think about it,
accolades and shit.
And if you think about it, if they delay it 2 years, if they like develop him 2 years, then he'll be 29 and he'll still have like 4 to 6 years of like being that like in his peak of his physical body, I would say, if he's not in his peak right now.
And he has a lot of experience wrestling. So his NCAA record was 120-3.
Jeez. Yeah,
it's crazy.
So.
Lots of competition.
Well, let's figure out who we think's going to win it, even though I don't think we need to really do this. It'd be interesting to see if Jake, you could have found like a cool prop for this one.
Yeah, I would have loved to. I think it's he's going to finish him decision or knockout, and I think that they're still going to get terrible odds. So I would have loved to see what it is, but I'd be surprised if it doesn't go to the.
I would think that knockout would probably be pretty good odds, because since he's not a striker.
Well,
yeah, but if he gets him on the ground and beats him up, that's technically a TKO.
Oh God, okay, I see.
Right.
Yeah,
that's definitely possible.
If it gets stopped, like if he's on top of him, just beating it. Yeah. Okay. Huh. All
the
right.
Submission or the TKO or submission, I think it's definitely possible. I don't see this going past 1 round.
See, that would be the good. I remember that one for last time is the over under, and I think it was 2.5 minutes against Pickett. And it just barely went over. but we were all thinking it would be under because he had never gone like past 40 seconds
Do
or
you,
something.
do you
like
remember
that.
what the odds were on that?
It was even money. It was
Okay.
minus 110.
Well,
I
why don't we just say that? So if you guys want to pick that, that can be the bet.
Well, we just don't know what the number is, but we can guess what the number is.
That's what I mean, and then
Okay.
we could bet it based on that.
Parrish, what would you give the number on the over under of how long the fight goes?
You could even just say the same as last.
I
one.
wouldn't. I'd be surprised if it could. I'd be surprised if it gets out of the first round. So I would say I would think the fight will be done by the 4-minute mark. So what is that? How do they do it?
So 4 minutes.
It's over. So it'd be over 350. Is that how they do
like
it?
355
Or
or
330,
359
something
or
like
whatever.
that.
Yeah, something like that.
I think it'll be right around towards the end because I think this guy will probably try to keep a little bit of distance. But another thing I should have mentioned, I could be wrong. How many are all of his finishes in the first round? Right?
Yeah.
He's just running everybody over. That's not that good. He might want to drag that. He might eventually want to start dragging this out and getting more experience inside the cage. I don't know if he's going to carry this guy. This guy is semi dangerous striker. You don't want to carry guys like that just to get experience. So I still think he'll take him out early, but I should have mentioned that earlier. That's another thing he's going to have to get more of is time in the cage. Finishing guys in the first round is not going to do you any favors when you get to the top 10 guys.
Yeah, he hasn't gone out of the first round. I think that his last match was the longest, and it was like 2 minutes and 40 seconds. That was the longest.
Yeah.
Well, because you can do as much conditioning as you want in your training, but until you've been in a fight for that long, you don't know actually how tired you're going to get in the second and third round. There's no training you can do for it to figure that out.
There's an old saying too. Every good punch to the face drops you a belt rank. So, and that actually goes for your conditioning too. So when you get hit really hard in the head, like it actually hurts your cardiovascular system. Your brain's not firing, so you're not breathing correctly anymore because you're buzzed. You know, like you're not operating the way you should. So, like in jiu-jitsu, they used to say that because there was it's probably like 10 years ago. There was probably even longer than that. Anyway, long story short, this is when jiu-jitsu was meant to be like indestructible, and people were just like running people over, like laying on their backs, catching everybody with triangle chokes, and it's like, what the hell is going on? What is this crap? And then once everybody started upgrading, and you realize there's only so many things you can do from down there, then people just started posting up on him and punching him in the head. And then you have a really high tier black belt, and he's laying on the ground, and you hit him once in the face. Now you're a brown. He moves around. He tries to struggle. You hit him again. Now he's a purple belt. Next thing you have this really high tier guy, but you hurt him so bad you reduced him to a white belt level, almost like a kid. You know, there's no more. That's one of the truest statements I think I've seen in fighting, because you can see it all through the early Pride days and the UFC days when you see a lot of the one-dimensional martial arts really start getting the shit kicked out of them, and that's where that saying came from.
That's interesting. Yeah, you mentioned that if you get hit, you get buzzed a little bit, and then it kind of messes up your operating system.
Fuck yeah,
sounds like me on the last podcast. All right, we'll go around the horn. Jake, who do you got?
Bo Nickel. It's just how's he gonna win? I would go by submission.
And what do we want to say? We would get minus 400. We'll say.
Can you guess where that's going to be? Where would you not take it at?
Oh, fuck. I don't know. I wouldn't feel comfortable going much more than minus 150 because he could just knock him out and you would lose that bet.
I agree.
Okay, so if it's 150 or better, we'll give you that one.
Yeah.
And then if not, you got a backup.
Then I would go by he'll knock him out.
Knockout. And if it's minus 150 or better, you'll take that one.
Yeah, as my backup.
Okay.
And then third, you just got him straight up. Third.
Okay.
If you can't make those two bets, then third, you just got him straight up.
First round.
First round. Okay.
Okay. Then it's first round.
Then it's minus
150 or better.
Yeah.
And then you're fourth. I gotta write this down. No, we'll remember this.
Yeah.
I'll write it down. Eventually, we'll just go all the way back to just him winning. You want to throw a time in on there on the fourth one?
Definitely. I would think it'd be around the 2.5 minute mark again, if that's what it was last
So that'd
time.
be under.
That's
right?
what I'm thinking.
Or is that over or under? That'd be under.
Well, that's
Because that's the halfway. So
Yeah,
you have to
halfway.
pick. You have to get on other. So you have to pick a side of it.
exactly.
So it's submission, then knockout, and then first round, and then 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and then just take them.
Exactly.
And all those 4 to begin with are minus 150.
Yeah. Okay.
That's like a really good strategy. All right, Chris, what do you got?
Just because I want to live a little dangerous, I'm just gonna pick Gore.
Oh, all right.
Wow.
Nice.
Well, because I'm not gonna bet it at nickel at minus 1600. That's not even worth making a bet on it.
And the cool thing
Yeah.
is if you win,
Yeah.
you automatically go to the top of the
Yeah,
standings.
exactly.
So it's strategy.
I gotta make a comeback here.
That's good strategy. I like that. All right, Parrish.
I think I'll take submission as well,
Okay.
and then secondary will be knockout, and I think he'll go over 2 minutes 30 seconds.
You think you're gonna go over 230?
over 230?
Okay.
I think this guy he'll try, but it's not gonna. I don't think it's still not gonna work out.
Okay.
And this guy's fucked.
Yeah. I think so I'm gonna go with submission too. If submission's better than minus 150, I'll take that too. And then I'm gonna go under 230.
Okay.
And then it all falls back to the last one. Or we'll all lose and Chris will take it down. All right, let's go on to the second fight. Jalen Turner versus Dan Hooker in the lightweight match. Turner is minus 245 in this one, and Hooker is plus 186. This is all from FanDuel. I got these numbers from.
Okay.
The last fight got canceled because Hooker got injured. I believe it was his hand where he got injured. Is that going to affect him at all in this one?
Possibly. It depends if he's had that same hand injury over and over again, then you'll be more susceptible to break it for sure.
What type of fighter is Dan Hooker? Is he more on the ground or up?
I would say he's more on the feet, but he can go on the ground, but that's definitely where he's weaker. He's not, I would say he's an average grappler. He's decent and he's good at topside wrestling. He has good defensive wrestling too, but I wouldn't call him a submission artist.
Okay. Yeah, I think he so I was watching an interview and they said that he started training with Craig Jones.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, world champion jiu-jitsu guy.
Okay.
High caliber dude.
And I think that he was thinking like he wants to improve that part of his game, obviously, if he's training with him.
Okay.
Is that going to help him out in this
Fuck
fight
yeah.
against Jalen Turner too?
Yeah. And if his plan is to try to get Turner to the ground and use that, that's a great idea. But we'll see. We'll see what
what's the first thing that comes to your mind in this fight? Like,
I could see Dan Hooker getting knocked out.
okay.
Just because I don't like the way he stands. He stands kind of with he stands with his chin kind of out. There's a boxer that retired years ago, but his name was Carl Froch. Dan Hooker does the same shit he does. He kind of stands there with his chin out, and he as if he's going to roll shots, but he ends up just getting hit square in the fucking face. Every time you're just like, what is it? What kind of defense is this shit? He takes a shit ton of damage. If you get him on his back, he's not very good. I just think Turner has a lot more avenues to exploit on him. He could wear him out though. Turner's gas tank has been a little bit suspect in the past, and Dan Hooker has a shit ton of heart. So there's not like this is not by no means a wash. I would say it's like a 60-40, 55-45 fight. Still
Okay.
gonna be close.
That gives us some odds there. I like that. Against the last fight against Gamrot, he lost by decision.
Yeah.
Jake, do you think that Turner won that fight?
I actually do. Yeah, I rewatched it again last night, and they basically gave it to Gamrot because he just took him down, and he had a little bit of ground and pound, but I thought Hooker said it best. Hooker actually watched that fight, and he said that Turner won. He feels like Gamrot found like a cheat code in UFC to win fights without ever beating anybody up. He just basically, I don't know, he just took him down. He made sure he wasn't getting hit, and I was kind of smart for him because when he was standing up with Turner was getting the best of him all around. So
Yeah.
it was actually a really smart fight for Gamrot on that, and that's my point on Hooker is I think he's going to want to do the same thing. That might be why he's training with that one guy you're the jiu-jitsu guy you're saying.
Yeah, Craig Jones.
So that was the way to beat Turner, in my opinion. He's got such a long reach and long kicks, and it'd be kind of stupid to sit there and bang with him. So I feel like it would behoove Hooker to try to take him down and keep the fight close.
That's a good point, because he did mention, like you said, he noticed that Gamrot, he found a cheat code, like he read the rule book. Yeah. And the fact that he like just noticed that means that maybe he's gonna do it too. Yeah. Is that what you're kind of saying? Yeah. Is like he might use the same playbook that Gamrot did.
Yeah, I think he'll stand there a little bit, strike, but it wouldn't make sense for him to strike the whole time, because I feel like Turner is a lot better striking. You can't count Hooker out. He's got a pretty incredible resume, and he's beaten a lot of really good people. He has a lot of losses, but his losses are against some great competition. So it should be a great fight.
Well, let me ask you this. He said that Hooker, I saw in that, it might've been that same interview. He said that he feels that Turner is one of the best fighters at this weight. And he feels that if he beats Turner, then he'll be just maybe like 1 or 2 steps away from a championship fight. Do you think that he can make it that far? I mean, he's an underdog in this fight. He'll be an underdog in the next one. Do you think he can make it that far?
Maybe Parrish?
I mean, if he makes it past this fight, what does that get him? He's one's ranked 10, the other one ranked 11th. At best, that might knock you up to 9th, or he just like takes his 10th spot. He's still going to have like another 3, maybe 4 fights, depending how they have the division chopped up, how they matchmake these guys. I don't know. I don't think that's going to put him in a mix necessarily very quickly. I think if Jalen Turner beats him, it might, just because I think they want to get fresher blood up there. And as you were talking about earlier, I think a lot of people felt he did win this last fight. Mm-hmm. That's why I think this fight is kind of a fight to get him back on track.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing this. I don't think this is a fight for really because for Dan Hooker to make his like rise to his title shot. I don't see this at all. I think this is to get Jalen Turner back on track. This is like almost to make up for the last fight.
So it sounds like Hooker might be a little delusional, thinking that he's a couple steps away from a championship fight.
I would say he's been getting the shit kicked out of him his past couple fights, pretty much. So this would be a great win for him. This is definitely a step in the right direction. But look at his record. Jake and I were looking at his record. It's insane. It's like win, loss, loss, win, 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 loss, 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 win. It's the most inconsistent record I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think he's like 21-12 or so, 22-12. But Jalen Turner's 13-6, so he has his losses too for as many fights as he's had. It sounds like this weight, the lightweight, is really competitive. Is this the most competitive weight class?
Easy.
Oh, hands down.
Easy.
All right. Who do you like up and coming in this weight class? If it's not these guys.
Oh, I was about to say Jalen Turner.
Jalen Turner is the up and coming guy.
He's okay. I've been high on him for about a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years. So I don't know. You see him like guys like when they get into the top 25, and I told you he trains at the gym across the street from me, so I get to see this guy train a lot. And he's a nice kid and skills, and you can kind of see like if he could just get certain things like put together, he's going to be really good. He kind of reminds me of John Jones in some ways, without the physical topside wrestling, but the striking, the length, the almost some of his submissions as well. He likes going for topside guillotines, and smashing you up against the fence and using his height. They have a lot of similarities in some ways. I actually would say he has better hands than John Jones, much better striker.
Wow.
John Jones has better kicks, but they have a lot of similarities. And
I'm getting excited about this fight because the last one was a good fight with him. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was right there, and he lost it. So he does have something to prove, it sounds like.
Yeah, he just needs to get back on track.
All right, so what's your pick? I mean, I think we know it, but Or do we want to go to Jake first so he can give us all the props? Because then we can decide what we want to do.
I don't have the props though.
Yeah, no,
Well,
we're gonna make them up
what's in your
again.
head? Yeah.
Okay, well, I like the value here. I think Parrish was saying it's like maybe 60-40. I think that's pretty accurate. And the odds, the break even is 34%. So if it is closer to 40% chance, I do like the value on Hooker. The level of competition Hooker's faced is significantly higher, in my opinion. I think that Turner will be a star. I feel like this might be one more setback for him. I think it's going to be a very competitive fight, and I could see it going either way. I would go with Hooker because of the value.
All right, Chris.
Parrish, does this Hooker have a heart of gold?
No.
No. Oh, damn! I wanted to pick.
I feel like that there's a story behind that. Is that a phrase?
It's like a phrase, or it's in a movie or something.
Okay.
No, we've said it in
Yeah,
our
the
friend
Hooker
group
with
for-
the heart of gold.
Yeah.
I forget what that is. I forget what it is.
Sounds like it's from like Trading Places or something like 80s
Yeah,
movie. Like
yeah, I think it's something like that. We'll have to look it up. Yeah, I was thinking Hooker too because of the value, but I think Turner's the only fight that I won last time.
Oh, okay.
So-
That's your one win.
Yeah, so I guess I'll go Turner again.
But if you picked Turner, you would have lost.
I was about to say you would.
Oh, then I bet against. Okay,
You must have
then-
bet against it.
Yeah, maybe. No,
I didn't mean to throw you for a loop.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Hooker.
You're okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a switch right there.
Yeah.
You pulled the old hook on Jalen.
I'll buy a Hooker.
All right, Parrish. Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
I'm just
I'm looking
staring
at
you.
I'm looking at the odds right now. It says only -210 for Turner.
Okay. Yeah, I got minus 245 on FanDuel earlier
Oh.
today, but you could probably find it for minus 210 because minus 240 to minus 210 is only like a percentage. Or
I'll tell
or
you this.
less.
I don't know how he's gonna win. I think this can go any kind of way. Like he can knock him out. He could submit him to. Dan Hooker is not exactly like the best grappler ever. Even though as Jake's saying, he's been working on it. I can almost see this going decision. You know what? I'm taking Jalen Turner by decision. Give me that.
okay, and we'll see what that is. That's probably a really good pick. Chris probably wants to go backwards and take that one.
No, I'm good.
Okay. I had Hooker written down this whole time. I wanted him to. And then after talking to Parrish, I was like, I hate my pick. But I still got to go with it. So I'm going to go Hooker too. So we got 3 hookers and a couple condoms. No, we got 3 hookers and 1
Turner.
Turner by decision.
Yes.
Okay. I got to write all this down. I'll do that later. Let's move on to the next fight. The next fight is Robert Whitaker versus. Now, I don't know how to pronounce this. Maybe you guys can help me with this.
think it's
Dricus Duplessis.
I think it's.
Duplessis.
Is it? I think it's
Duplessis?
Duplessis.
Duplessis? Okay.
Yeah.
There's a soccer player,
Yeah.
a French, South African soccer player that it's pronounced Duplessis, but he's French. And I don't know if Dricus is French or not.
He's South African.
Is he South African too? Okay.
Yeah, but it could still be a French last name.
Nope.
It's weird that there's so
No.
many. No, that can't happen. Let's go with Duplessis because it's easier to say.
He probably is French. Or what is the other one that sounds
Fruity?
Dutch?
Oh, Dutch.
It could be
Dutch,
Dutch,
yeah.
or like
Oh,
Netherlands.
Definitely. So I listened to a middleweight Sean Strickland.
Oh,
He
God. Jesus.
he said that Whitaker is gonna fuck up Duplessis. Do you think so?
I don't see how he wins. Jake and I were talking about this 2 nights ago, I think. This guy had a hard time with Devin Till, and it didn't look like it because he was kind of beating the shit out of him. But after, I think it was around like the 3 minutes or 4 minutes into the first round, he gets really tired from kicking the shit out of him, and you can see him like kind of drop off. And then Darren Till gets back into the fight and starts kind of beating him up a bit. You're like, what is going on here? This guy kind of strikes me as somebody that needs to win every round and to assert himself, and to I'm not going to say this properly. He needs to win all the time for him to feel confident, if that makes sense. And he's about to find a shit ton of resistance and probably arguably the best guy in the division. A lot of guys think he beat Israel in the last fight. I do. I thought that was close enough to give it to him, but you know, it is what it is. I don't see what he's going to do with him. Honestly, I think he's going to get caught on the feet. He's supposedly a kickboxer, which he looks pretty basic to me when it comes to striking. It doesn't seem like he wants to spend a lot of time in the striking department either. Has a lot of urgency to get guys to the floor. He doesn't seem very confident on the feet to me, but we'll see. He's going to be dealing with probably the best guy in the division when in regards to being well-rounded.
All right. Well, he did end up beating Duplessis. Duplessis did end up beating Darren Till,
right,
in that fight.
Right. He did. It was ugly though, and Darren Till sucks.
And I think okay. And
I shouldn't say Darren Till doesn't suck. He's just a whack job though. He doesn't want to. I don't know if he's not training right or he's so one-dimensional. He just fights the same way every time. It's like, and people just end up beating him. You know, it's like it's the mental aspect of the game that he's lost. The physical's there.
Okay, so that win doesn't really count in your head as a solid win.
Not really. Well, it would if he would have when he was kicking the shit out of him up against the cage and he had him dead to rights. That and if he would have finished him there, I've been like, all right, fair play. But when Darren Till got out and started coming back and beating him up and making it a real fight, I was like, how did you let this happen? You know, so I don't know. That's actually the biggest question mark I have for him is that you're not as good of a finisher, everybody says. And then when you fight guys that are, you know, kind of like what C, B minus level, you don't lay down for you. Might not be a good sign.
Is there any way that he can win this fight against Whitaker?
Sure. I mean, anybody can get knocked out.
How would he do that? Oh, with a knockout?
Sure. You can get knocked in the face and he falls to the floor funny. You get behind him, you choke him. Like I was telling you earlier, like when you get hit in the head, all those skills kind of go out the window for a split seconds. You know, you're kind of gathering yourself. Next thing you know it, the guy is behind you choking you out. You're like, oh my God. Like I just got choked out by a white belt. How did that happen? It's because you weren't in your mind. You know, you took a trip for about like 1 minute, you know, and you put you back in and you're like, oh shit. You're like, you're in the worst position possible. You know, that's just how it goes.
What do you think about this fight, Jake?
I think Parrish hit the nail on the head with everything he said. I do think that Whitaker, he has a much better resume than Duplessis. I know Dreykus has won. He's only lost 2, and he's what is he? 19-2.
Right.
So it's like extremely impressive. But if you look at the level of competition, a lot of them were from that South African league, and then he fought in Europe for a little bit. He's a pretty I feel like he's an incredible striker in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah, I mean it's a different level of competition. I just felt like he gets hit a lot in the videos I was watching, but I feel like he could take a hit and he could also.
How do you rate Darren Till's striking?
I think he's got power, but I don't think he's that great.
So if he's really good at striking and he's struggling with Darren Till on the feet though.
But I mean at one point it was like 60 punches to 0. Like he was beating the shit out of him, but then he didn't finish him. So that's.
I think the 60 punches to 0 though is when he had him on against the cage and he had him handcuffed, kind of Khabib style, right? And he probably took about 3 minutes of damage that was not retaliated.
Yeah,
he just sat there and got the shit kicked out of him. And that's actually what bothers me about it the most is that how did you beat the fuck out of that guy for about 4 minutes? He managed to survive it and he came back and tried to fucking hurt you still. It's like, dude, I don't know. They need to either. I'm being overly critical. Continue. Sorry.
We want you to be critical on here.
So
keep it up. I was just going to ask, I guess Robert Whitaker, he feels that Duplessis is underestimated. Is that how he's winning fights? Is because everybody's underestimating him?
No, he's maybe, but I think he's good.
He beat Derek Brunson. What do you think about Derek Brunson?
He's good. Solid win.
How did he beat him?
That's his best win in my opinion. That's
Okay.
his best win by far.
How did he beat him?
I think that was submission, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
right?
submission, face crank.
Right. Or neck crank, which is pretty much a rear naked choke. And then he couldn't get it. So,
I've never heard of that before.
yeah,
It's-
and neck crank, face. Yeah, they call them cheek crush, neck cranks. There's all kinds of different
What kind of beer are we drinking
variations.
again? A skull crusher? Is there a skull crusher?
broken skull.
Yeah,
Broken
broken
skull.
skull, Steve Austin shit. It's actually pretty cool. He has his own beer now. That's dope.
That's a good beer. Yeah, this
It's not
episode
bad.
is.
It's
I forgot that this episode is
Sponsored
sponsored
by-
by Steve Austin's beer, Skull
Brought to you by
Crusher.
Stone
Broken
Cold.
skull. Broken skull.
Broken Skull. I keep on wanting to say Skull Crusher.
An American lager.
And his next beer coming out is Neck Crank.
One thing to note too
It's
is
a
that
good name.
Duplessis, I believe he was a double champ in KSW, like 2 different weight classes as well. It's kind of
So he was like, what, 85 and 205 pounder? Because I doubt he went down to 70.
that's probably right. I don't know, to be honest with you.
Huh. I don't know. That
so
organization ain't shit, though. Like we were both looking at. I never even heard of that fucking organization.
That's the
Yeah.
South African,
Yeah.
the league he was playing in.
Or the European one,
Like
the
talk-
KSW.
Talk about a fucking bum hunt. Like I never heard of any of those guys, and none of those guys went anywhere.
But he still is 5-0 in UFC. But like you said, he hasn't really fought.
I get it, but like he fought Darren Till, who was pretty much like I think that was the end of his contract. So that was like win or lose for him if that didn't work out. Then Derek Brunson was, I don't want to say he was shot born, but he was like one of those veterans that fought everybody. So that was the measuring stick for him. If you can beat him, we'll give you somebody better. I don't think he's done anything great yet, but he's doing what he can. His record is definitely not definitely over exaggerates him. I'll say that because he doesn't. All those guys that he fought in Africa, you're like, who are these dudes? How would they do? Like even in our lower tier here, they probably get killed.
And the fact
So-
that he lost 2 fights in these leagues kind
Yeah.
of says something too. I wonder what happened on those ones.
He probably just got knocked out and caught.
Yeah, he got knocked the fuck out on one of them.
Right. And that's how it goes. Like I actually allow that. When people get knocked out, that happens to everybody. If you think you're gonna go into like, especially like professional kickboxing or any high tier level of striking boxing or anything of that nature, if you think you're really gonna walk through like those kind of arenas and those kind of like tournaments and not get hurt, you have another motherfucking thing coming. You're gonna get your fucking teeth splatted down your face. It's gonna happen. It's it's the most unforgiving sport that there is. Like you have to make split-second decisions, like at a moment's notice, and if you're wrong, you pay the ultimate price. You know, and
Yeah.
you think you're never going to be wrong. Everybody gets knocked out in those sports,
Mm.
and if you don't get knocked out, you haven't fought the right guy.
Yeah. Also, one other thing, Duplessis has 19 wins and 18 of them are finishes. So he only has 1 win by decision. So he's
So
But-
he's like a do or die kind of guy.
Yeah.
Kill or be killed.
seriously.
I like that.
What is Whitaker? Is he a do or die type of guy, or does he like to go to the?
He
the
is
distance?
in his if you let him, he will. Like his attitude, he wants to get you on the ground and beat the ever living shit out of you. But he probably has more decision wins than anything, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Am I right, Jake?
Yeah, he has 10 of his 24 by decision.
He can do it all. That's actually what I like about Whitaker. Like he can knock you out. He could even he could do everything but probably submit you, and he can do it, but he won't look to do that. If he gets you on the ground, he'd rather just beat your face in.
Okay. Well, should we go around the horn? Jake, we'll start with you. We'll keep it consistent.
I wish we had the prop odds because
Of what? Of what? prop?
I would like to see Whitaker by decision.
All right, we can put you down for that. We
Well,
can just go levels.
That's what I want.
I've already decided too, though, because I don't have that. I might just go with the dog again. The break-even percentage is around 25% for Duplessis.
Remember, it's a 3-round fight, right?
Can I ask you
Yeah.
this? You
That's
guys,
even better for him, I feel like.
you guys both said that both guys don't go to decision very often.
No, they do. Whitaker does.
Whitaker does. Oh, okay.
10 of his wins, I think, are by decision
Out
for
of
Whitaker.
out of 25 of them.
Yeah, the other guy doesn't go to decision.
But is 10 out of 25 a lot? That seems
It's-
like 40%.
It's pretty high, and like you're
Oh, okay.
splitting it. Well, then he has like stoppages and submissions in there. How many submissions do he have? Like 4 or 5?
Whitaker?
Yeah,
5.
5 submissions, and so what? He has 8 stoppages then.
9.
The nine
Yeah.
stoppages.
Oh, so decisions the most. I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah, actually, if you look at his record, he's actually fairly well balanced. He can pretty much beat you any way he has to. He's a dangerous ass guy, you know.
He's so gifted. He's definitely one of the best. He matched up so well against Israel Adesanya.
And then think about the guys that are on those decision wins, like Yoel Romero. That's like fighting a fucking brick of muscle. That dude was probably all kinds of shit.
Souza too.
Jacare Souza, yeah, that was another tough dude. Yep.
Cannonier.
So what do you got, Jake? What was your bet? I'm sorry.
I'm trying to find value going with the dogs again. I do think Whitaker has the edge. I mean, it's just the odds are so insane. Like they have him winning almost 80% of the time. So I don't know. I'm just gonna stick with the dogs again. I'll go with Duplessis.
All right. What do you got, Chris?
Dricus Duplessis.
Duplessis. He's going with Dricus Duplessis.
Oh, I've been waiting to play that. I didn't want to interrupt it. I'm the one that said that. I think it's Duplessis, but it's Duplessis.
I think he is French.
Yeah,
No,
it's got to be
he
French.
sounds-
Yeah, but we're in America.
and we call it Duplessis.
Yeah, that's right. I think I'm taking Whitaker by decision.
Whitaker by decision, and then so whatever those odds are, you like them or
No, I
should
don't.
we-
I would actually. It depends. If it was still like fucked up, I just wouldn't bet the fight.
You wouldn't bet the fight. Oh, so you would just do you pass.
I would just pass.
Okay.
I'm just saying,
So
like, I would actually. A lot of them, they're so close. I would just sooner pass if I didn't get the odds I wanted. Like, I wouldn't bet on
that's-
Duplessis just because, like, he's. I like the odds, but I don't like the guy.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
but that's smart sports betting is to
Yeah.
pass on them.
Right.
I don't know if we're gonna let you do it.
No, that's, no, for the sake of
but it is smart.
I'm
No,
just
that's-
saying we're not betting anything right now. This is just more so to track what we're doing. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine with betting it how it is. I'm just saying if I was putting actual money on it, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, it's good to let everybody, all the listeners, know that though, because that's good. That's smart sports betting.
Yeah.
So Whitaker by decision, what number would you take? Like minus 150, minus 200? If it goes over a certain number, you wouldn't want to take it.
I probably wouldn't like it over. Yeah. Probably over one. Oh boy. I start not liking it around minus 150 and above. I start not liking that. But yeah, I'd probably still bet that at minus 150. That'd probably be okay.
Okay. And then after that, would you just take Whitaker? I know you said you'd pass, but we got to do something for the stats.
Oh,
so if
so I need a
can't-
second bet, is what you're saying?
yeah, if it's like
Uh,
minus 180, then you don't want to take it.
Well, then give me give me a completely different bet. Then give me Whitaker by stoppage.
By stoppage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me Whitaker by knockout. That'll be my second bet.
Okay.
I like that bet.
And
too.
that Whitaker by knockout has got to be better than minus 150. Right?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I think it will be. But I don't know, dude. I don't know. Look at me talking. I know.
I have no fucking clue.
I'm gonna go with Duplessis. I'm gonna go with Duplessis too, just because that's who I was picking. Even though every one of these, I have a guy written down, and then after I talk to you, I want to switch it.
Don't do that. You have your own.
I'm just sticking.
Your own ideas.
I'm sticking to my own thing because I have a ultimate underdog parlay that I love to do, and I got that for later on. Those odds for later on. All right, let's move on to the next one. So we have a co-main event, and this one is a flyweight for the belts. It's Brandon Moreno versus Alexander. Here's another one. I looked it up. And it's Pantoja. Okay.
Is that how you say it, Jake?
I think so. Yeah.
Pantoja or I don't know.
Pantoja.
Yeah.
It looks like Pantoja. When I looked it up, just like Duplessis, it said Pantoja.
I think
The
that's
J
probably,
is silent.
yeah, that's how it is in Spanish.
Pantoja.
Yeah.
So we'll go with the Spanish since we're so close to Mexico.
There we go.
Brandon Moreno, Alexander Pantoja. Moreno is minus 186. Pantoja is plus 144. Pantoja has beat him both times before.
Yep.
What's going to happen on this one?
All right, we're going with me now.
Let's go. I keep on going with you, Parrish. Let's go with Jake.
Let's
first.
go with Jake.
What do you think, Jake?
All right, I will take the dog once again. Surprisingly, I'll go with Pantoja, the cannonball. He's 25-5. He's beat him twice, like he said. He submitted him once. He's knocked him out once. You're getting good odds. The break even for Pantoja is 40%. So I don't know. I'll go with Pantoja again.
Do you like that just because the statistics show you that?
Well, I mean, obviously he matches up well with him. He's stopped him twice, and then I like the odds. And Moreno, obviously he's the champion. He's great for his division, but I think he's definitely beatable, and it should be a great matchup. I think it'll be very, very competitive.
Be exciting.
And Moreno has the title right now, I believe, in the flyweight division.
Yes.
And he said in an interview that his best fighting Pantoja has never seen. Do you agree with that, Parrish?
Yeah, you might be right, but he has to say that. He's been knocked out and submitted by this guy. What is he going to say? You saw the best of me and you beat me already doing it?
That's a good point.
Yeah, he's going to have to figure out how he's going to beat this guy. He could be right. We just got done watching Israel Adesanya beat Piera, right? And he pretty much did the same damn thing.
What's the first thing that when these two guys fight together, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
It's going to be a good fight.
It's just going to be close.
It should be a back and forth fight for sure. It'll be a barn burner. It'll be a good fight. Brandon Moreno, I'm not a big fan of him, but that kid has balls and he's a tough fighter. He does have some big holes in his game that haven't been exploited properly, but they will be. And this guy has obviously already exploited them in the past. So we'll see if he really has made up for those deficiencies that Pantoja has exploited in the past. We'll see.
How did he get since he has so many holes in his game? How did he get the title?
Oh no, he's a tough kid. I'm saying that loosely. You know what I mean? I'm saying like he has they're not big holes in his game, but when you look and you watch him, you're like, this guy can be caught. Your striking is not elite, right? You're good for the UFC. You're not an elite striker though. You cannot go into professional kickboxing and survive. So when you see guys that come over from professional kickboxing or they train with professional kickboxers, they're probably going to have their way. You know, that's going to be their, man, I'm doing really bad today.
No, you're doing fine, dude.
That's going to be his advantage. You know what I mean? Right.
Yeah.
That'll be to his advantage. And Brandon Moreno is well-rounded everywhere, but I don't think he's necessarily great at anything, which is it's not really bad, but you definitely want to have something to fall back on in case somebody ever hurts you. You're, oh my gosh, you fall back. If you're an elite wrestler, went to the NCAA, somebody punches you in the face real hard. Oh shit, I better grab on this guy, get him to the ground. If you're an elite boxer, somebody hits you in the face, you shell up, you start bobbing, weaving, you start making him miss, and you line up your counter, right? Everybody has this, they have in the back of their mind when they can fall something that they fall back on, they can use at a moment's notice. I don't see what he has that he does that with. He seems like he does everything kind of equally well. Okay. It almost seems like when he gets hurt, I wonder what he's going to fall back to in his mind. You know, is he just going to try to slug it out like how the Mexicans really tried to do it? You know, it's going to be a Mexican street fight. He's done that before. It hasn't gone out too well. So I kind of want to see what his default strategy is in his mind when he's really hurt.
All right. What do you think, Jake?
I'm going to take Pantoja. I think that he matched up well, and I don't know. I like the odds, and I think it'll be competitive. So I watched both of the fights, and I thought that Pantoja had the best of them. It was a pretty significant difference at that time, but Moreno's
been a while.
He's come a long way, so you can't. I would think that Moreno does have a slight edge, but I like that 40% break even for Pantoja.
Is that the break even 40%?
Yeah, if you look at Moreno too, he almost gets hit as much as he hits, and I don't feel like he's got that much stopping power. Pantoja has a better strike versus strike absorb ratio, a lot better actually. So Moreno has a 3-inch reach.
Advantage.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and the height. It's got the height and the reach and the age.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's lost twice against him. Chris, what do you think? What's your pick?
I'll take Moreno.
All right, he's going contrarian the whole
Yeah.
time. I like
I
it.
gotta catch up.
I like it. All right,
I'm taking Pantoja.
Pantoja.
Just straight up. Nothing special.
And I'm taking Pantoja too. I feel good because this is the first one that I predetermined mine, and this is the first one where Parrish actually agreed. So I feel good about this one. All right, let's go on to the main fight. I know it was a co-main fight, but I feel like there's a lot more excitement for this one.
No, you're right. This is the main fight.
Than the flyweight. Volkanovski versus Rodriguez. For the featherweight, Volkanovski is minus 460 on FanDuel before we started, and Rodriguez is plus 320. So a little bit more of that's a pretty big difference there.
I don't have any odds on this.
Volkanovski is considered one of the most, we talked about it earlier in the podcast. He's one of the most well-rounded fighters.
Yep.
Is this fight closer than the line suggests? I mean, minus 460 is like over 80%.
Yeah.
Is it over 80% that he's going to win this, Jake?
Fuck, man, that's a good question. I think Yair Rodriguez has a legitimate chance, but I think Volkanovski is significantly better. I would think it's more like 60-40 or 70-30.
Oh, yeah, I think 70-30, like 65-35 maybe might be like a good split between that.
Yeah.
So that would be minus 200.
Okay.
65 would be around minus 200. Interesting. So that kind of gives a little preview of what you might be thinking. Jake's going with all the underdogs again, I think.
Except for I'm not going Trajan Gore. I stayed away from that.
Oh, yeah.
It's Chris's pick.
It's because his eyes are too close together.
Exactly.
That's what I was thinking too. Rodriguez can end the bout in the blink of an eye. Is that his strength, his striking, that he could just end it at any time?
Yeah, but I don't know. I'd be really interested to see how he's going to plan on doing that with Volkanovski. Volkanovski controls the distance better than anybody in the UFC. And then when Rodriguez overcommits trying to get to him, he's going to get taken down to the floor. That's actually going to really fuck with his striking a lot. When you're trying to reach for somebody, then you reach too far and the guy dives underneath you. Right now you're like, fuck, he's running from me and I'm trying to reach and get him. And then he jumps in like now he's too close. You know, it's Volkanovski understands all of that to a T. And back to what I was telling you earlier, he switches off angles really well. Like he goes between southpaw and orthodox. If you try to kick his leg, he'll take his leg back and then he'll wheel out the other direction. So when you go to punch him, you have to go all the way across over your shoulder to get to him. And he's a shorter guy, and he's controlling the distance. So think about that logically. He has better feet. He has better lateral movement than everybody else, and he's obviously understanding angles better than everybody. So, and he has longer arms too. Nobody really talks about that. He has absurdly long arms for a guy his size, so he can still get to the target when he has to.
How does he normally finish fights? I
would say usually probably by decision.
He's got 12 by KO and 10 by decision. So almost half his fights go to.
Oh wow, I didn't even realize he has a lot by KO. Good for him.
What about Rodriguez? How does he usually finish fights?
He's got 5 KOs, 4 submission wins, and 6 decision wins.
So he's pretty well balanced.
Do you guys think that this is going to go to the distance?
Fuck, it's hard to say. They could both end each other quick. Yair Rodriguez is one of the most dynamic strikers I've seen in all the divisions. He's up there with Adesanya, in my opinion. Obviously, he's different. Adesanya is more fluid and very technical, but Yair Rodriguez is extremely technical too. He's got all kinds of unorthodox strikes that I'm not familiar with other UFC fighters doing. Yeah. I've seen him do like a somersault roll towards his opponent and try to kick him with his heel.
That's called rolling thunder.
Yeah,
it's a kickboxing move.
I haven't seen too many UFC fighters do that.
No,
it sounds like a Garth Brooks song.
The serial killer?
Yeah. Who
Yeah,
listens to your mom's house?
I did.
Yeah.
I
Where are the bodies?
yeah, Volkanovski has the longest reach that I've seen in his division, except that Yair actually has the same reach, surprisingly. So I think Volkanovski has better hands. Yair has got better legs. I think that
He has better legs, and
Yeah.
he probably have better elbows too.
yeah, there you go.
Also,
More,
Ru-
yeah, I'll put it this way: Yair has probably better Muay Thai,
Yeah.
and then Volk has better boxing.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
Rodriguez is 4 inches taller though, and they have the same. Basically, Volkanovski's a half an inch longer of a reach.
That's what I was telling you
Yeah.
earlier. That's why he's so deceptive. You think
I know.
you're punching down on this short guy, but his arms are longer than you.
I know 4 inches doesn't seem like that much, but that's a lot.
Yeah. That's what
It's
my
a-
wife says. Sorry. I was trying to hold it in. I was trying to hold it in, but I couldn't help myself.
That's a short.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah, good night.
yeah, end of the podcast. Volkanovski, did he lose his last fight?
Yeah, but that's another one where
Now
I
it's
felt-
controversial.
Yeah, and a lot of people think he won it.
I
right?
thought he
Yeah,
won.
I rewatched it. I thought he won, and I think I saw another UFC fighter suggest that the reason that Makachev won is because he was the champion, and it was such a close fight that they just gave
That's
it.
so stupid, though. Don't you? I don't mean I'm not talking about you, but you don't understand like the process of that. If a fight was so close
Mhm.
and you thought like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do and who I'm gonna score it to, then why did you count the points? Why did you score the rounds? If you're gonna score the rounds after you add it up, you should have a winner or a tie, right? Score the points.
They
I
never
hate
like to
that
do
they make
ties, right? Or very
They
rarely.
do. They do. They do
Yeah.
draws, and not often, but it can happen. If it happens, so fucking be it. But the point is, they're sitting there. It's like, well, now they're acting like they're making a decision. Now it's like, well, you didn't beat the champion. It's like now you're doing a subjective criteria into the like. Now that's I don't think that you can do that at all. How they fucking feel the fight when is not relevant.
Do you think they should add more judges?
Yeah, there should be 5.
5?
There should be 5 judges.
Not more, even more than that.
No, because it takes you fucking long.
Why would it take too long?
Because you're going to have all these different people. You know how long it's going to take to count 9 or 12 different independent judges' scores, and they're going to have to read every single one of them out at the end of the fight. You're going to be there for 15 minutes.
They don't have to read them all out. They
But
just
that's
read
what
the final score.
They're going to have to read the final scores of each judge's scorecard.
Yeah, well, I guess. Yeah, I was just curious because I've heard
And then they're going to
other.
have to, and then each judge has got to calculate that each scorecard. It's going to have to be submitted to the boxing commission. That's going to take way too long.
And
Okay.
Chris, adding
Or
is
the
tough.
athletic commission, rather.
There's something
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up about this Volkanovski Rodriguez fight. So Rodriguez lost to Max Holloway. It was a very close fight. But one thing to note is that Volkanovski fought Holloway 3 times, and he beat him all 3 times.
Yep.
And then he also fought the Korean Zombie, Volkanovski and Rodriguez. Rodriguez had a very competitive fight against Korean Zombie. It actually went down to the final seconds where Rodriguez caught him with a fairly, I wouldn't say it's lucky, but a pretty crazy elbow where the Korean Zombie.
Oh, that up elbow.
Yeah,
I saw it.
exactly.
But do you think I thought the zombie was beating the fuck out of him?
It was so evenly matched.
Do you think so? I thought the zombie was like really walking him down and like really threatening him. And then like he kind of ducked under and he was a little hurt and he threw this like whack ass elbow and he clipped him.
Yeah, I was kind of lucky that he.
I
caught
think
him
so
with that.
too. He's like, I use that all the time in practice. Like, no, you don't.
Apparently, he practices it, but being able to pull that off in a fight is like
It's just
less than 1%.
I don't know. It's fucking hell.
And
He
then
could- he might. What the fuck do I know?
So another thing is, the Korean Zombie had a really competitive fight with Rodriguez. He might have even won if it was lasted just.
That would have been it.
Seconds.
He was winning that fight.
And then Volkanovski destroyed the Korean Zombie, from what I remember.
Yep.
And so if you just look at, they both fought the same guys, and Volkanovski destroyed.
Yeah. They call that the triangle theory, though.
Yeah. So I mean, you can't just take that alone. But Volkanovski, I feel like he's going to win this fight by ground and pound or outboxing him. And I think Rodriguez has got to use those leg strikes and hopefully I don't know, chop down the tree, so to speak.
So what are you taking?
I'm going to go with Rodriguez because I think he's more than a 20% chance of winning. But obviously, Volkanovski he's potentially the best pound for pound, and he's so fucking good. It's hard to see him losing. The only reason I feel like Yair Rodriguez has more like a 25% chance, maybe even 30, and they're just counting his ability.
And what do you have Volkanovski and Rodriguez at as far as like the odds?
Well,
You
the
didn't
best
show on mine.
the best odds I found at the time, like a couple days ago, was minus 420 for Volk,
Jeez. But what about Rodriguez?
plus 350.
Plus 350. Okay.
So 22%.
Yikes.
So it's just like
Hey, you're right though. It shouldn't be that bad. That's a bit high, but
Yeah.
I would love to see what it is by Volk by stoppage. I can see it in my head right now. Like around the fourth or fifth round, he's gonna get him to the ground and just start grounding and pounding him. He's gonna wear him out.
Yeah, he's so strong, and he was he came from rugby. He's so
I know.
fucking
He used to weigh over 200 pounds. Think about
crazy.
that.
Wow.
That's a big, yeah,
Jeez.
a fucking
What do
fire
you-
hydrant.
What do you think he fights at? So he weighs in. What do you think he actually is fighting at? Like 155?
Well, what do you mean?
Like, so he weighs in, but they gain weight
I know,
up
but
in the fight.
like the last fight, he was at 155. So
Yeah.
like this fight, he's at 145.
Do you think by
Hmm.
fight time he's back up to 155?
He's probably up to around, I'd say anywhere from 160, 165
What?
Whoa,
After he weighs
really?
in?
He goes that much up?
for sure.
Wow.
Water, you just intake water.
Yeah.
But Rodriguez can probably get up there too since he's 5'9".
Yeah, but he doesn't have build.
He
He doesn't
can't
have
do-
the body build
Oh,
like
yeah.
Volkanovski's. You can kind of see the frame and the muscle on him. Like that's actually another good thing about having a lot of muscle on you. You can dehydrate it.
Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
can
And then you
dehydrate
bring
it.
it back a little bit, and
Yeah.
then you're like, right.
You just get, then you
okay.
get on the scale. After you get off the scales, you just drink a whole bunch of water and like Gatorade and things like that. Have a lot of salts and sugars in it. You know, you go back. There's some guys that put on 30 pounds overnight. You can do. You'll
That's
feel
insane.
like shit. You'll feel it
that
absolutely
day
fucking-
during weigh-in, like you feel like shit, or feel like shit the next day after that.
Oh, you'll feel fine, but when you go to fight, you're gonna feel sluggish. You're like, what
Whoa.
the fuck happened? Some guys you'll even see like the water around them because they put so much, they're almost bloated. Like Anthony Pettis had a problem with that. If you guys are familiar with him, he was an ex-champ, and he fucked his body up a little bit. He was I think he was a 155-pound champ, if I'm not mistaken. And then he went down to 145 and it ruined his metabolism. And then when he went back up to 155, he almost looked really soft. And eventually he had to fight at 170.
Oh wow.
So
Jeez. So you got Volkanovski
I want-
on stoppage.
I want stoppage.
And is that minus 150? Is that the cutoff on that too?
Fuck. I doubt I'll be able to. Yes. Give me
Okay.
that.
And if you can't get that, do you have a backup?
Yair by decision.
Ooh, all right. Wow, you're gonna get good odds on that. I'm sure that's got to be like
Yair ain't gonna be finishing him.
Okay.
I don't
All
see
right.
it.
And you just got Yair, right?
Yeah, I want to say that this is probably I would say it's the best fight card of the year. So if you're gonna watch any fight, you got to watch this one. I would take Rodriguez just because of the crazy odds, and I don't know. I can't wait to watch it.
I skipped you, Chris. Sorry. Well, Chris,
It's all
what do you
good.
got?
I'll take Volk.
Volk just straight up.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna do the same thing. Since I was gonna switch it to stoppage, but I'll just be bitching out on the piggyback there. So I'll go with Chris and I'll just take Volk straight up.
All right.
All right. Well, we went through them. Should I go over all the bets or does it matter?
No.
It's too many bets
yeah.
to go
Yeah.
over.
Jake's got like 74 bets.
There's one
That was
thing
a lot. Yeah, I know. We have to go through a whole.
There's one thing I was considering. I at least would like to look at the odds. Is if you took a parlay for every single favorite.
Nope, I got it.
Okay.
I got that. So I took the parlay for every single favorite, and it is minus 250. I think it's plus 250. So if you
Okay.
take every favorite, it's plus 250. What were you thinking?
I was thinking it would be interesting to take every favorite on a parlay and then hedge that with betting on every dog.
Well, I wonder what that would be.
So there might be like
Would you like to add that into your bet? because I want to add something into my bets
Yeah,
on the end.
I would like to add it, but I don't know what the odds are. So that really.
Well,
makes-
you would just have to
Yeah.
take all the underdogs.
Yeah.
And then you would have to take the favorite.
Exactly.
And that's plus 250.
But
We
I
have
might,
all the odds.
yeah, I might not go to like exactly do 100. Let's just do it for the show. I
Okay.
want to do it. It sounds fun.
So we're adding that onto your bets.
Yeah.
Is you're doing that hedge.
Yeah.
The favorites parlay versus all the underdogs.
Yeah, I'll bet on all the favorites, and then I'll do a parlay, or I'll parlay all the favorites, and then I'll take every dog individually,
Okay.
except for Trajan Gore. I don't think he has a chance.
Okay. Well, that's where it gets a little tricky because
Oh.
then so you'll just take the you'll
Yeah.
take the 4 underdogs
Yeah.
and then also take the favorites.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're going to add that into your record. And so I'm just going to put 4 underdogs and then you're doing the favorite parlay. Sorry, me and Jake geek out on fucking betting.
He told me
You
the
guys
other
are-
night. He told me he was going to do this the other night. I'm like,
Oh, did he tell you?
yeah. I'm like,
Well,
it's not a bad idea.
Well, here's what I'm doing. You have one up your sleeve. I got one up my sleeve too.
Okay.
I like my ultimate underdog parlays, and I really haven't said this on the podcast too much about these, but I found one that I like. So it's plus 2,586, and it's the underdogs that I took. It's Duplessis, it's Pendoja, and it's the other guy that I took, Hooker. So I'm taking Hooker, Pendoja, and Duplessis, and it's plus 2,586.
That's not horrible.
I'm gonna
Those
add it
are
on
all
there.
honestly there are avenues for victory for all of those guys. So that's not horrible.
It could happen.
Right.
It could happen. So, and I'm getting that's like 4%. There's got to be a greater than 4% chance that happens. I'm going with that.
Huh.
That's right. And I'll say this. If you guys want to piggyback on Jake's plan or my plan, we should allow it because we can't. That's unfair. Because
I've got my own plan.
Okay, Chris got it. Whoa, everybody's got something up their sleeve.
I'd like to parlay the first 4 fights the opposite of what I picked for the individuals on them.
Okay. Whew. Okay. I think you just blew up my mind. So you picked a thing in the first 4,
Yeah.
not Volkanovski.
Not
The first
Volkanovski
4.
fight.
And then we're gonna find out what that parlay is.
The parlay of the opposite of every fight that I took for the first 4.
Okay. All right. Can you guys talk amongst yourselves while I figure that out?
No, we
real
can
quick?
do it. We can figure it out
Okay,
later. Yeah.
whatever it
we don't
is.
need. Yeah, we'll
Okay.
figure out what the odds are.
You have anything up your sleeve too? Because everybody's got something.
I'm not as fancy. I think I'm all right.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and you know what? That's why you're winning.
Yeah, exactly.
We're a bunch of
I'm just
degenerates over here.
I'm just lucky.
All right. Well, this is. I think I was telling you guys this is my favorite podcast that we do. Every time we do this is the 3rd one we've done. I was looking forward to this today. This is so
All
much
right.
fun.
I like it too. I always have a good time.
It was a good time. It was a little hot today.
Yeah, no
Summertime is fucking really hot. But I still had fun. So thanks for coming out, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Musk
thanks for having
plus
me.
292. I'll take that one.
What was it?
Musk plus.
we're
gonna put that one on there?
Yeah.
Okay.
If
Musk is plus 290.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's minus 440 for Zuckerberg.
if that fight happens, we're doing a live podcast with
Yeah,
the
we
fight
are.
on. Yeah,
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
We're doing the live
With
one.
Parrish here, so he can
break down.
Yeah. break down what you heard Elon Musk walrus move. He's like, I just lay on the person.
Yeah, we'll do like an announcing thing.
Yeah.
Where you'll be the color commentator and you'll just be like telling us what's happening.
I'm down to do it. I'm down to do it. I'm in the Musk army right now. I'm with
Okay.
him.
We'll tune into that in the future. Now I can't wait for that fight to happen. All right. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
for coming
Parrish.
on again, Parrish.
Thanks, guys.